have Dr. Awal Abdullahi Aliu, and he's our Secretary General, Veteran Federation of Nigeria, and of course the General Secretary, North Coalition of Concerned Veterans. Gentlemen, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for having us here.
Dr. Awal Abdullahi. January 15th, how significant is this day?
Well, thank you very much, and then thank you once again for having us here, and good morning, Nigerians. January 15th is the day Nigeria set aside to remember the fallen heroes. Those fallen heroes are those that fought for Nigeria and for the protection of lives and property, for the continuity, for peaceful coexistence of Nigeria, and they paid the supreme sacrifice. These heroes died at various engagements, some during the Nigerian Civil War, which is the most significant as far as Nigeria is concerned. Others die in collaboration with other countries where Nigeria has contributed within Africa and even, if you like, the world. Even during the First World War, Nigeria was part of it. The Second World War, Nigeria was part of it. All other international engagements that the United Nations were involved, and Nigeria was also part of it. Not just part of it, but prominently part of it. And then coming back home, apart from the Civil War, you are also aware that we had so many issues, from the Bakassi Peninsula issue to the Boko Haram insurgency to the banditry, which are most recently declared as a terrorist, as well as the other challenges of successionist challenges presently going on, from the Odua Republic, so to say, to the IPOB, Eastern Security Network, which killings are continually, and the same members of the Nigerian Armed Forces are the ones engaged in trying to make sure that Nigeria continue to remain as one country with one destiny under God. So it is the responsibility of the armed forces to do that, protection of territorial integrity of Nigeria against external aggression. So this day is so significant because we are remembering, or the nation is remembering, those heroes that fought and fought gallantly in the national interest, for the unity, like I said, for togetherness, for love, for peace, and then for continuity of Nigeria as one nation. You cannot have it better than you are doing it. Though it could be better, but you cannot just forget these fallen heroes for their contribution to the nation, and also the significance also of what they did is what is making us sit here today and we are discussing it. Otherwise, without the performance and the contribution of those heroes whom have fought and then paid their supreme sacrifice, we wouldn't have been here. But that is not to say that we, the living ones, are also supposed to be celebrated. We are as well being celebrated. If you go, the President and Commander-in-Chief would personally lay the wreath of honor and respect to the fallen heroes, and also goes to all the other senior government officials, as well as the head of the security agencies, that is the service chief. So it is an issue more like trying to say thank you for what you have done, thank you for being part of Nigeria's peace, unity and development, and thank you for keeping the country together. Not only also that we celebrate the dead ones among us, like I said, the living ones also needed to be celebrated and also needed to be recognized. Today is supposed to be a day of pronouncement for the welfare and the well-being of those of us that are still surviving. If you go out there, you find a lot of us that have fought and then or served and left this job, or have fought in various engagements. Most of us are bedridden. Some of us are, cannot are on wheelchairs. Some have various kind of sicknesses, and then so the welfare and well-being of the living ones also is very paramount and very important for the government to look into.
Okay, all right. Okay. So, Dr. Awal, motivating factor that brought most of you to service, the love of the country, patriotism, the need to serve your country. And I remember when we were younger, I mean, if you could take a poll of like 10 kids when we were growing up and you ask them what they wanted to be, like 8 or 9 will say they wanted to be soldiers.
Absolutely.
You understand, because of the prestige that came with being a military person. So With the current state of things now, as we're complaining that most of the veterans are not being taken care of, and even the ones in service could be demotivated, what about those that are actually aspiring to become military people? In the long run, what kind of effect do you think the treatment being meted to veterans now will have on those aspiring to become military men?
Thank you very much. That is a wonderful question, I would say, and then I think it really touches on where it's really itchy. Right now, all those that want to become members of the Nigerian Armed Forces are doing that not because of the interest of the nation or patriotism, but they are doing that because there's just no work to do. So it's just like the only option that we're having, and that is the only sector that is employing open employment, and then people are going in. Otherwise, I will tell you that whoever comes into the armed forces as at today in Nigeria is not doing that because he's really patriotic to the Nigerian nation or because he wants to keep the Nigerian nation together, but because there's no job, and that's why they are doing that. And why is this like that? Because they are also seeing what is going on. They also saw as we are complaining and then agitating, like he rightly put. This agitation started with a protest in Lagos, and then after Lagos, we decentralized the zone. We zoned the protest just to call the attention of government to tell them that our plight is at stake and our welfare is not properly looked into. Now, we had a protest in Lagos. From Lagos, we had another one in Port Harcourt. We had a protest in Kano. Oyo. Then we had a protest in Oyo. Another one in Benue, then in Kaduna. Then the last one that culminated all was the one in FCT here. Now, what, like you asked, the present situation, there's what the Veterans Federation, for example, is an initiative of the Defense Headquarters. And then it was to bring all together all veteran associations. We have about 16 veterans associations recognized by the Ministry of Defense and then the Defense Headquarters. Out of this Veterans Association, bringing them together to speak with a voice under what is called the Veterans Federation of Nigeria. The world over, it is only in Nigeria you have what is called the Nigerian Legion. It is obsolete and outdated if you compare it to what is happening across the world. But then veterans across the world, in the US, in the UK, in France, and even common African country here, if you come to countries like Egypt, you find out that veterans are recognized as first citizens of the nation. But in Nigeria, we are the last to be recognized as citizens in the nation. But if you go to other countries, veterans are first. Now, under the Veterans Federation arrangement, you are supposed to be first when you talk of welfare, that will motivate and encourage those that are in service now and those that are willing to be part of the service, the armed forces. First, you needed to provide proper welfare and for the well-being of the veterans. You needed, like I said, proper medical care, 1. 2, you needed a transportation system. 3, you needed a proper educational system for the family of the veterans. 3rd, you needed housing, proper housing for these members. And also coming to the widows, those that have lost their husbands or their breadwinners. Both the widows and the children of the fallen heroes are not properly taken care of. You needed to provide them, the widows, with skills acquisitions that they would use in taking care of their souls. But in the Nigerian situation, that is not the case. Like I said, instead of being first-class citizen, like in other countries across the globe, as a retired military personnel, the retired military personnel in Nigeria is seen as the last citizen. When you move, there is an adage in the Hausa, they will say, Allura Soja Tamusa. That is, you are being seen as a madman because of the treatment. The way you behave, you are not happy with the system, you are not happy after serving, you've lost some part of your body, or you lost people who lost their breadwinners, like I said, are not properly taken care of. So you behave as if you don't know what you are doing, or behave like a madman, and that is what is being, the Nigerian retired military personnel is being recognized or addressed as today. So that is one aspect of it. The other aspect of it, like you asked, if there's a motivation for those that want to be members of the Nigerian Armed Forces, tell me where the motivation is. We are seated here. We are complaining. Ours is even possibly even better, because possibly the way we are seated, you might be looking at us, but why are they complaining? Look at the way they are sitting. Go outside there and see those that are not looking the way we are looking right now. When you see, you shed tears. You feel sorry for them. You feel sorry for a country like my colleague rightly said, with the president and commander-in-chief is a retired military personnel. The Minister of Defense is a retired military personnel. The National Security Advisor is a retired military personnel. And these people knows the plight of the retirees because before becoming what they are today, they were part of the system. After leaving office, they are still coming back to be part of the same system of the force of retirees. And then they are privileged to be where they are today. Possibly why they are occupying the office they are occupying is because they have had the privilege of serving this nation in that capacity as members of the Nigerian Armed Forces. And that was what gave them one step ahead of others, that they are able to recognize to say, okay, if you give certain responsibility of leadership to these people, they will take care of the nation, and most especially in terms of security, and also knowing that the Armed Forces is a disciplined organization. They are also seeing that they will also put the country together, and also the welfare and the well-being of the nation will be properly taken care of by them. But today, we are the same colleagues of theirs, and we are complaining. Though with due respect and recognition and appreciation to the President and Commander-in-Chief Muhammadu Buhari, why I said so is we were made to understand there's nothing that had to do with the armed forces that is taken before him that he has not approved. But along the line is where we are asking questions, and that is where the challenges are coming in from.